Do difficult conversations at work leave you feeling drained? Do you want to navigate those difficult conversations with confidence and build a stronger relationship with your team? I've been inspired by Kim Scott's Radical Candor framework in my own leadership. So today I'm going to share it with you to help you master those crucial difficult conversations. Radical Candor is a communication framework by Kim Scott. It's about finding that perfect spot between caring personally about your team and challenging them directly to improve. It's not about being brutally honest, but delivering essential feedback with care and empathy, but still honesty. Now on your screen is a visual of Kim Scott's Radical Candor framework in a 2x2. On the axis is care personally, which is the degree with which you treat people with respect and basic human decency. Kim Scott describes it as the give a damn dimension, which I like. On the axis through the middle is the challenge directly, which is the degree in which you share your perspective and invite others to do the same. Kim calls this the willing to piss people off. In the top left quadrant is the ruinous empathy. This is where a lot of people make mistakes. You care so much personally that you're afraid to hurt somebody's feelings. So you actually fail to give them that crucial feedback that they need to progress. Under this is the manipulative insincerity. This is where you neither care personally or challenge directly. Perhaps you really don't care, or you're more concerned with how you're going to be perceived. Manipulative insincerity is closely linked with passive aggressiveness, backstabbing, political behaviour, but it is not always malicious. The desire to be liked or to improve your reputation can easily land you in this quadrant. In the bottom is also obnoxious aggression. This is where you are bang on with challenging directly, but you completely fail to care personally. This behaviour often includes belittling, bullying, embarrassing, or just discouraging others, which is both harmful and a waste of breath. If you are acting in this manner with somebody, they are going to immediately go into flight or fight mode, where they literally cannot hear what you are saying, which means none of that feedback is at all useful for anyone. Now, this might sound really terrible, but we can all be a jerk sometimes. So remembering that this will cause somebody to go into flight or fight mode can help remind us that this is a complete waste of effort and really just damages your leadership reputation. The top right is Radical Candor. This is where criticism is kind and clear and praise is sincere and specific. By doing your best to remain in this quadrant, you can foster growth and combine caring personally and challenging directly. The idea is if you are in this quadrant in your leadership manner, you will be being genuine and sincere and building trust and growth within your team. So to summarize, obnoxious aggression is high challenge and low care. This is usually blunt, hurtful criticism. It can damage relationships and demotivate your team. Ruinous empathy is high care, low challenge. This involves avoiding difficult conversations, letting issues fester, and hindering growth. Manipulative insincerity is low care, low challenge. This is simply not addressing problems at all, leading to stagnation and mediocrity. Radical Candor is high care, high challenge. This is the golden zone. You care deeply about your team and challenge them to reach their full potential. Now, let's get practical. There are some key strategies to actually put Radical Candor into practice in your leadership. Firstly is to build trust. Before you can have these Radical Candor conversations, you need to have high trust with your team. Open communication and psychological safety are critical. Active listening is another really important component. I have done a video on active listening in leadership, which is linked on your screen. Clear communication is obviously another key point. Be specific and direct in your feedback. Focus on the behaviour, not the individual. And use I statements, not you statements. A focus on growth is really important. This is reinforcing that you're helping your team see feedback as an opportunity to develop and grow. and then follow up. Don't just have one conversation and move on. Check on progress and offer continued support. The idea is that you use Radical Candor in a 4-step operational style. This starts with step 1, getting feedback. Making receiving feedback, especially criticism, for yourself, a priority. I've done a video on the importance of feedback in leadership, which is linked on your screen. The second step is to focus on the good stuff. Make sure your praise is specific and sincere and your criticism is kind and clear. Step 3 is to gauge how that feedback has landed. It's not just about your intention going in. It's also about the impact of your words on the individual. If the other person is sad or mad, move further up into the care personally quadrant. If they are brushing you off, move more into the challenge directly. Step 4 is to model and reward radical candor while discouraging common mistakes. For example, don't let others talk behind each other's backs. Instead, encourage them to communicate directly with one another. This will help reinforce a culture of radical candor. Implementing radical candor can be quite challenging. I'll run through some common hurdles and how to overcome them. So if you have embraced radical candor, and the individual that you're providing feedback to gets mad, get curious. Pay attention to your own body language too. Lower your shoulders, take deep breaths, and then consider what you can say or do to make it easier for the other person to hear your feedback. If they are mad, move further up into the care personally axis. Don't get mad back and fall into obnoxious aggression. And don't withdraw, as you run the risk of falling into manipulative insincerity. Try resetting with phrases such as, maybe I didn't phrase that quite right. What's the best way for me to share with you? Stay present and remember, as the boss or the manager, it is your job to deliver criticism as kindly and clearly as possible. Now, if they aren't listening to you, you may need to think about how you're phrasing the feedback. For example, if you've provided feedback to someone on being on time for meetings and they keep turning up 5 minutes late, which is disruptive and annoying, think about when you gave the feedback to the individual. Did you clearly tell them that you needed them to be on time? Or did you challenge them really directly with low care in a way that made them go into flight or fight mode and they didn't even hear you? Try giving the feedback again and be kind, sincere and clear and see how it lands. If your criticism upsets the other person, try to understand why they are responding that way and what they need from you. You want to show that you care and find a way to make it easier for them to hear your feedback. It can be really easy to end up in ruinous empathy here. So don't back off with, oh look, it doesn't really matter, as that will undermine the importance of the feedback that you've given them. Stay curious and try to honour their feelings and focus on how you can help them. If you give feedback and the other person just brushes you off, this is the cue to go further into the challenge directly than may be comfortable. Resist the temptation to give up, which can land you in ruinous empathy, or resort to manipulative insincerity, where you end up talking about them to other people. Often you have to try a few times before that person will understand. It may seem nicer to be vague, but being clear is kind, and clarity ensures your feedback is understood. Lastly, sometimes no amount of feedback will change somebody's undesirable behaviour. If you are a manager or a leader, sometimes the best solution is to move that person to another team or even move them on. You have to make a determination about how hard to push. Radical Candor is a powerful tool for leadership, but it is kind of uncomfortable. It's about caring deeply for your team while challenging them to grow. Let me know in the comments if you've tried Radical Candor and what your experience has been. And thanks very much for watching.